Hello everyone, we are going today to talk about my top patterns of 2025, but I'm going to sprinkle in there some of my not such great successes as well. Not everything can be a winner, and I think it's really important to keep things balanced and to talk about the realities of the fact that there's things I love, but there's things that were a bit of a wah moment, so we will sprinkle those in too. Now don't forget to leave your comments below on what either my things are your favourites or what are your favourites from this year, because I know how much other people like to hear them. My name is Sam, I am Sequin Girly, and welcome if you are new here. I did the exact same video last year, which I'll link up here, so if you want to go back and see my top pattern picks of 2024, you can hop back in time and see that. But today I'm going to think about the whole of 2025 and tell you what stood out for me. I'm looking around because I need my notebook. And we're going to talk about what stood out for me, what were my top picks, and what things are those will I be going again and again for. So when I think about my top pattern picks of 2025, there is a good smattering. There is trousers, dress, tops, jumpers, pair of jeans, skirt. So I think we should start with my most made pair of trousers in 24 and 25, but in 2025 I made a very specific style, and that was one of the views of the So Liberated Chanterelle Pants. And if you are out there going, I knew she'd say those, there is for many of these patterns a video, and I will put them all in the description. I fell in love in 2025 with the wide leg version of the Chanterelle pants. 2024 was the tapered leg view with the amazing dart at the leg seam, but I absolutely loved and wore the wide leg version. I've made many different wide leg trousers, and I went in 2024 on quite a trouser pursuit to find the trousers I loved and get the fit I like. But there is something about the Chanterelle wide leg trousers. They fit nicely at the right position in my waist for me. They don't make me think about my body, and they've got nice slant pockets, and I made them in lots of different fabrics, and they worked in every kind, and they were just that perfect kind of trouser in the summer when you want to throw on a t-shirt, maybe a jacket, you want to feel a little bit swishy aroundy, but you want to stay cool, and they worked perfectly for it. They are such a versatile pattern. They will be coming with me into 2026, and I'm even going to have a go at making a French terry pair, but as a summer wide leg trouser, absolutely perfect. So that was my top trouser pick. My other trouser pick of 2025 was the Style Arc bob pants. I started making those in 2024, but it was in 2025 that I really got the design the way I liked it, and found that actually the range of fabrics again that I could use made it a really versatile, quick make and a great throw on. So the thing I love about the bob pants is they are a barrel leg, but they're not too extreme in shape. They have a separate waistband, which I like, and they do have like a seam pocket rather than a diagonal. So if you want a more discreet pocket, I did hack them though, and I will put the episode below about that, because I didn't like the fact that the pocket did that flippy flappy thing where it's not attached. So I hacked the pocket into the fact that it attached in the waistband, and I certainly did not follow the Style Arc instructions for how to do the pocket. If you've ever done an inseam pocket before, just go with your gut. If not, look up an inseam pocket instruction, because the Style Arc one just messed with my mind. I love them because if you make them in a slightly more structured fabric, they will hold their shape, as per this pair here. But if you make them in a drapier fabric, like this lovely sort of yellow ochre pair that I made in a sort of cotton linen, the drape on them means you've just got that little bit of billow, but more tapered in at the bottom, and just such a joyful, easy throw on pair. And I've even made them in a very sort of interesting stretch chambray fabric. Never heard of it before I made it, and they just work so well. They are a trouser that I just return to when I want particular colour trouser in my wardrobe, such as my most recent black pair, and I just want that satisfying make, knowing that it's a trouser that works for me. You could easily taper the leg in a bit if you don't like the shape, because it's such a straightforward pattern piece. You can easily adjust the rise, so I do a full seat adjustment on the back. You could take a bit out of the rise at the front if it doesn't work for you, and it's a very adaptable pattern because there's not too many pieces or additional bits that you have to sort of tweak. One of the things that I've really grown in confidence more with in 2025 was really understanding this set of words I created for myself, which was joyful, colourful and comfortable. And it's the comfortable, because sometimes we can sort of associate comfortable with either dreary or loungewear, but it's not. And I've really taken that a long way in 2025. So when I talked about the chanterelles and said that they didn't make me think about my body, what I mean is the waistband sits in a place that feels really comfortable on my body. It doesn't draw attention to things that I end up thinking about negativity. It means it frees up my brain to just think about what I want to think about rather than what the clothing is making me think about. And I really believe that comfortable can be joyful, stylish, feel like you, feel like any of the things, the words that you would want to connect with it. Now, if you've been a long time viewer, you know I've already broken free of this perception of flattering, which is about the external gaze, but instead thinking about what silhouette I want. So when I want like a wide leg trouser and a loose top, I'm going for like a flowy silhouette. I've definitely found there are clothing I can wear with a more sort of nipped in waist style silhouette while still feeling like I'm wearing secret pyjamas, and that's why some of these patterns are my favourites, because I can put together whatever look I want without having my brain being taken up by how the clothes are feeling on my body, and it gives me my full brain capacity for being creative, connecting with others, problem solving, working, having a wonderful conversation, whatever that is. So now I think we should talk about dresses. And one of my top pattern picks, which I didn't really know I was going to say in 2024 because I hadn't had a chance to wear it as much, is the Sauvie Sundress. And I made my first versions in 2024, but actually having the whole of the spring and summer of 2025 to wear and enjoy them, I really, really like it as a summer throw-on dress. There is some versatility in the design. I love that it has a facing that comes right down over your bust in the dress, so you've not got any pieces like flipping out around the arms or anything like that. I made a double gauze one, which was so floaty and soft when it's a really hot day and you don't want anything touching your body. Now the pattern does have the option to put an elastic waist in. I tried it didn't work for me, and also when it's really hot I don't want anything touching my waist. But it is a lovely pattern in terms of bits of variety in there. There is a pocket option as well. I didn't put it in because I don't feel I need that in the summer. And I also made a pair, still stuck on trousers. I also made a version out of a duvet cover, so I was able to use the two sides with a slight reverse print just to add a little bit of interest to it as well. While we're talking about dresses, the other dress that I really enjoyed making and wearing in 2025 was the seam work benning dress, and I found it when it was free. I don't believe it's free anymore, but it just worked perfectly for that transition between wanting to be floaty and needing to look dressed up enough to go someone's house, like a barbecue, or to work. And it was versatile in the fact that I made it in a cotton block print, made it in a viscose, and it worked perfectly in both of those. I think we should talk about jumpers next. So in terms of jumpers, I returned to a jumper that I've made a couple of, but actually hadn't really gone for it with until 2025, which was the LB pullover by Paper Theory. It is a drop shoulder. It is a slimmer sleeve compared to some. It's a boxy shape. It is three different pattern pieces because the sleeve same on both sides, but it has that variation between just doing a neckband or a sort of raised neck, as you can see in this version here. But what I came to realise was that drop shoulder and the fact that the front and back of the sleeve, because of the drop shoulder, are identical, it allowed for a bit of variety and a bit of pattern hacking. So it was perfect for when I wanted to add a bit of sparkle or a bit of luxe into my festive wardrobe. And there's two versions coming up here because it was drop sleeve and quite a low drop sleeve. By the time you put the sequins on, they're not too much, so you can have like your nice sweatshirt or French terry body and then just a bit of bling at the end. I did another one with a stretch velvet sleeve, and because it's not too wide and big, you don't get a huge billow, which particularly for like the sequins means there's not a lot of bulk when you go into doing the cuff and the ribbing. But because of the nature of the sleeve, you could fold it in half and then cut two sleeve pieces, remembering you need your seam allowance. And that's what I did for this orange and burgundy version, which meant that I could have that nice colour blocking between the front and the back, and doing the opposite with the sleeves. And I like it when you've got a pattern where you've got that little extra. And you can see that in my variations, I've done some with the neckband and one with the raised up neck as well. I also know people who've done it sleeveless, so it's more like a sort of sweater vest, and that looks really good too. So it is, when you want a drop shoulder, more casual looking jumper with enough in the pattern that you've got a bit of variety and a little bit of hacking potential, LB pullover is definitely my go-to. While we're on tops, my favourite free pattern of 2025. Now, I had a lot of free patterns that I liked, but I'm going to pick the Styler Wren, which is the adult version, I wanted to say, of Little Lizard King, I want to say. Do correct me in the chat below if I'm wrong. But it's free. It's a lovely raglan style top, but with gathering here, and hopefully you can see this in the picture. It is sort of designed, from what I read in the instruction things, to be like a sweatshirt, but actually I found it better if I made it sort of as a more fitted size to make out of like cotton jersey as a t-shirt top. But that elevation of the gathering here meant it looked smart enough that you didn't just look like you were wearing a t-shirt. And I then sized up and made it in a jumper version as well. The neck is quite an open scoop, which works really well for a top. And it is definitely one that I'm going to take into 2026 and keep making. I made 3 in 2024-5, and in 2026 I'm pretty sure we will see more. Now back to trousers for a second, because these are jeans, not trousers per se. And I finally found the jeans pattern that I really liked, and that is the Oxbow pants by House 7. I love the back darts, I love the way they fit, I love the instructions. The only thing is I had to make a little tweak because they were a bit high-waisted for me. But while we're talking about things that worked and didn't work, I do want to mention that I made the dark side jeans by what was Forest and Fred is now Izzo Studios, and I followed all the size instructions, and I think they're designed to be quite low-waisted, but actually for me, every time I put them on I'm disappointed. They just don't have the look I want. When I put on the Oxbow, I like the silhouette of the shape on how I feel in them. So I am going to do the dark side jeans again because I love all the details, and I've sized down this time. I'm going to really give it a go. But it was one of those ones where it was a bit of a wah. Every time I put them on, I'm disappointed. While we're on the wah moments, I also made the Chandler pants by Untitled Thoughts. Love all the details, love the design. Didn't work for me. And this is the thing, is because of the trousers and the very 3D-ness of that part of our body, trousers can really vary from person to person, and they just don't work for me. I might go back, I might have another try at them, but they just didn't work. While we're talking about dresses, I did have 2 whack moments with dresses. Some were ones I tried and I sort of made it, but did I love it? And that's the sound of those. But my biggest dress disappointment of the year was a Holland Park dress by Nina Lee. It looks amazing on Kate of Ripper Seams. She and I both made it together whilst on retreat. I knew I needed to take out some rows of elastic because of my short torso, But even with that and being petite, it just doesn't quite work for me, and I so wanted it to. I just don't think I'm a multiple amounts of gathering in a top of a dress person. So Henrietta skirt, let's talk. The Henrietta skirt has been my top skirt of 2025. I've loved it. I've been making it right up to the end of the year, and there is a video that's come out quite towards the end of Vlogmas where I share a velvet version that I've made, and I love it. And I've made, I think, 4 now, and that will be coming with me into 2026. The amount of fabrics I look at and go, that could be an amazing Henrietta skirt. It is designed by Spaghetti Western Sewing. There are a couple of other ones like the Gracie Steel flirt skirt that I've enjoyed as well, and I think there's one by someone else called the Saturday skirt. But for me, the Henrietta skirt has been mwah, in terms of bringing skirts back into my wardrobe this year, which I didn't really do at all in 2024. I also designed my own skirt pattern in 2025, and I will put a link down below to that video. And I loved making this panelled skirt, and I've made several of those and really enjoy wearing them. When I went into 2025, one of the things I said to myself is I wanted to find some skirt patterns and feel comfortable wearing skirts again, because I'd gone off wearing skirts, and that has gone well for 2025, and I've really enjoyed swishing about in many different skirts. I'm very happy with that. What I want to mention at this point is tops. I have some really great go-to t-shirt patterns that I love, and I've added a couple more in 2025 from 2024. So I really liked the block tee, which there'll be a picture of appearing here, and I can see that going strong into 2026. And also it's been a favourite for several years now, which is the Max tee by Chalk and Notch. I have made quite a few sleeveless ones as like sweater vests. I did in 2025 make a t-shirt version, but warning, the armhole is quite low, so I needed to raise that up, otherwise a lot of my bra was on show. Might be different for different people. Aeroplane, sorry. And so they have been coming in, but I am a huge fan of a lot of the free t-shirt patterns that are available. I will link below a deep dive that I did into those, and I do think if you haven't explored that area yet, it is definitely worth having a good look at sort of finding t-shirt patterns that work for you. Just going to go for one last whap moment. I've had some highs with jackets this year. I feel jackets are going to feature quite strongly in 2026, but I had 2 moments where jackets didn't quite work out for me. So one of those was the Morris blazer. The sleeve arm is very tight on those, and I need to look at either doing a full bicep adjustment or something like that. I was pretty disappointed with that, because with the jacket you don't expect it to be that close fitting, because obviously people have got to get something underneath it, and I've not really experienced that with any other pattern, so it was a bit of a shock. And also my Sylvan jacket, love the pattern. I was a bit ambitious and made it in a boucle and velvet together, and I'm still working on the fix. It's going to be fine, it's going to be fixed, I'm going to like to wear it, but it's just not quite got there yet. Now my most honourable mention is going to Marilla Walker, the pattern designer. This year she made available 6, I think it was, of her patterns for free. I'd already been in love with them in 23-24, but 2025 was just the peak of those. 7 other sewists of me sewed some of her patterns as part of a challenge. I'll link that playlist down below. I made the Jurassic coat twice, loved it, remember? Free pattern. The Anning blouse and dress, and of course my most favourite of all, the Nautilus top. So she gets the kind of da-da-da-da of the year. And my very last one was a favourite pattern company find of 2025, which was Twig and Tail. I love everything about them, their ethics, their designs, their adaptability, their instructions, their videos, their variety, their pocket packs, their collar packs, love it. And so my favourite one, there was a lot from Twig and Tail, but my absolute favourite was the Vista top. Really nice, classic shape top with lots of sleeve options. Absolute peak. I am really excited for 2026, and if you would like to see some of my plans and ideas, I will link the video at the end for you, because I think you will enjoy seeing what I've got coming for 2026 and just hearing some of my ideas. If you want a more comprehensive view around what I made in 2025, I'll put a playlist below of the detailed videos, but also watch out for a future video that's coming where I'm going to share everything I made in 2025. I'm going to group it by different categories, but I'm going to go through everything. Well, I really hope you've enjoyed a little whistle-stop tour through my top patterns of 2025 and also some what moments. Do let me know your top patterns, fabric, designers, whatever your top ones were from this year, because I'd love to hear, and I know other people like to read them too. And if you haven't, I'd love it if you could subscribe. It just gives me a little boost to tell me that you're enjoying what I'm doing, and I will see you again soon.